Coach, anything new with the quarterback position in terms of announcing a starter?
We kind of have an idea. We've talked to both the quarterbacks, and we'll see on Saturday who's the first one out there.
How's Jeremiah Grant gotten through camp, and what do you think of his prospects for this season?
This is the best camp he's had. He's practiced the whole camp. He came in great shape. He's going to be a dynamic player, and we expect big things from him. We love him. I think he's going to be hard to block in our league for sure.
They did announce their starting quarterback. What do you make of Calandria and the wide receivers who seem really good for Virginia?
Calandria, really good player. He's throws a great ball. He can move. He can get out of trouble. He can run. You know, he's just kind of a scary guy to face. They hurt us 2 years ago with the quarterback run stuff, and just, you know, whether it's scrambles or design quarterback runs, and you know, we can't let that happen. But he's an excellent player, and he's got weapons. I mean, the number 8. You know, I'm never good with names. I can barely remember your name, Bob. But number 8's tremendous. Chris Tyree, I know, because I remember him as coming out here FCA camp his freshman year in high school, and I think we offered him at that time. We were second. Notre Dame offered him first, but what a great kid he was, man. We loved him, loved hanging around him at FCA camp, and but we know elite speed there. They probably got 4 or 5 weapons there that can run, can go up and get a ball. They should feel really good about their receiving core this year.
What's the number one thing that a defense has to do to go against speed that they may not see in practice every day?
Well, it's kind of like defending the option. You never know the speed of the game until you're actually out there. You try to simulate it. It's hard. You know, I just hope they don't get behind us. You know, but I think more important than them getting behind us, and they're going to take their shots, there's no question about that, but more important to that is when we got an opportunity to get somebody on the ground, we can't let it be a pitch and a catch at 7 yards and then a 60-yard touchdown. I mean, we have to make sure we're chasing the ball and getting them on the ground. We get those up. They're going to throw and catch it. They're going to get some runs. There's no question about that. But we got to get them on the ground when we got that opportunity.
Regardless of who starts and gets out there first on Saturday, would you anticipate your offense being able to use multiple quarterbacks on Saturday, regardless of certain situations?
You know, I'm not sure about that. I think they're both going to play this year, and how that unfolds, we'll see. But at some point in time, both of them are going to be in the lineup. Not together, but they'll both play at some point in time.
After being out here all fall camp, what have you seen that makes you think, going into this game, that you feel confident and optimistic that you guys could, you know, pull off something like you did back a few years ago?
That was before I got here, but then you say a few years ago. That was many years ago. These games are hard, no question about it. The one good thing is we're pretty healthy, so we got the opportunity to roll some people and try to stay fresh. I don't think we'll stay as fresh as they are, because I think they obviously have more to roll than we do, but we'll try to keep our guys fresh and play a lot of people. And but you know, these games are really hard. They got, you know, when you play a BCS program, they got elite speed, they got size and length, they can run on defense. You know, it's a challenge. We got to make sure we hang on to the football. That's the first thing. Pre-snap penalties we cannot have. Stupid penalties we cannot have. And we got to hope, you know, that we got a chance maybe in a kicking game and some things. I don't know about that either, but it'll be tough. We're gonna have to play good, no question about that. But you never know. You never know in these games what happens. I mean, it's sometimes, you know, teams will go in there and they get blown at. You know, a couple years ago they beat us up pretty good. A couple years ago we actually had it close. I mean, we could have got to one score. We had the ball in the red zone and could have got it to one score, you know, in the second half there. And then, but it's hard. You know, we have to tackle well. We have to get off of blocks, and we cannot, let him scramble on a 3rd and 12 for a first down.
How much did Michigan State prepare some of these guys just for the atmosphere of an FBS game?
Well, some of these guys actually played. Who we play the year before Michigan State? Was that what? Virginia again in 22, and then I think in 21. Tech.
Yeah.
I think even some of these guys played all the way back to Tech. So they're used to it. This will be the 4th one for some of them. It'll be the first one for some of them. Second one. But again, I don't think we can talk about Michigan State, but until you get out there, the speed of the game, I think, that's the biggest thing, and how fast an ACC team is.
I've covered some FCS teams in the past when they go in this game, and their mindset's mainly just not to get injured, and I hate to say it, but cash a check for their program. With the in-state ties with Virginia and the competitiveness here and around the program, what's the mindset going into this game for your team, and how you talk with the coaches?
Well, it's not the first thing, because we're going to go into play. In these games, and you'd be surprised, in these games there's way less injuries when we come out of it than if we play a Division II school, because it's not sloppy. People stay on their feet. They're athletic. So we come out of these games healthy. So we're never ever worried about, now maybe they beat us up and we're pretty sore for a couple days. But as far as the injury factor, that's never ever played into it. We're going to play our guys that give us the best opportunity to get stops on defense, to move the ball on offense, and then kind of see where we are into the second half and the 4th quarter. And they're going to be excited to play. We'll be fired up to play. We got to execute, no question about that.
What goes with this game for the Spiders?
I think the challenge is on us. I think it's execution on this field, on the practice field, Tuesday and Wednesday. And no matter the jersey, they might wear a prettier jersey. They might come from this school or this state. Doesn't really matter. They're a great football team, well coached. But we come from a winning program, and we have to focus on ourselves.
How about speaking to Richmond's preparedness for this game and how camp went?
I think camp went well. I think from quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, the O-line, and our defense as well. I think we did really well this camp. I think we prepared. I think the mindset has been the same mindset it has been since I've gotten here. So pretty promising stuff as far as the attitude of the locker room. So I'm excited to see what happens over these next 12 games, hopefully more.
Individually, what do you bring to the table here? What do you want to bring? What do you intend to bring?
I bring a fiery passion to the field. I think I'm a pretty good player. I think this year I'll be used a little bit more than I have been in the past as far as, certain things, which is exciting, and I think a lot of other of our skilled players have filled that role as well, as moving around the field and things like that. We're going to be pretty dangerous on the offensive side, so I'm excited to see what happens.
And lastly, for me, punt return is one thing you're going to be doing this year. I wonder how that fits your skill set and why you like that.
Yeah, I really wanted to do it last year, and then over the spring, Coach Huseman kind of threw me in there. I asked him about it. It's something really good to learn, and it's a good skill to acquire as far as the next level. It just makes me more marketable in certain ways. So obviously a little bit of a learning curve, but to go out my last year here and to show that I can do that is going to be pretty big, especially as far as the ceiling that I have for that position.
It's last year. Can you kind of quantify your college career and how it kind of went for you, Maryland, transfer, working your way up to where you're a focal point of this offense now?
Well, I think this college game has a lot of facets to it that I didn't know going in, whether it's off the field stuff, on the field things, political stuff, or just my own kind of approach to the work. And I think that I give the credit to the Lord. The Lord has brought me here. I almost came here. And it's funny how he kind of works, bring me back to a place that I almost came to, even with FBS offers. So, I'm really blessed to be here. I thank God for that every day. And, hopefully I could just continue to add to this team as long as I'm here for these next 4 months, and hopefully for an organization next year.
Can you give me a description of each quarterback, not saying anything else about that, but what they brought to the table in preseason camp? Cam Coleman.
I think Cam Coleman's an incredible worker, close friend of mine. He's a superstar in the making. No matter what you've seen in the past or now or in the future, that kid's a freaking superstar, and he's going to play under the lights or at 3 p.m. on Sunday someday, on Thursday. He's a really good quarterback, and I'm excited to see what he does in his future and his career.
Kyle Wickersham.
Kyle Wickersham. He's a big kid, athletic. He can run. He's gotten a lot better throwing the ball. He leads the offense well. And I think that, no matter who's in there, our team's got a shot. I think, we have good coaches, and the combination of that and the players doing their job, it'll be exciting. So, God willing, we go out there and win some games.
You guys, were you at all aware of any of the struggles that UVA's gone through the last 2 years? And if so, or what have you seen on film from them that you think poses the biggest challenge to your offense?
Well, as far as the struggles they've had as a program, I mean, they've dealt with a lot. They've dealt with losses. They've dealt with things like that have happened. And, incredibly resilient group of guys that have been there, losing, 3 teammates, 3 friends. I can't even imagine that happening. So all the credit to them for still going and honoring them and keeping their energy alive. No matter what's happened on that field, that team stuck together. So I have a great deal of respect for that staff and that team. But as far as their challenge goes, they're athletic. They're going to be big. And they're well coached. And so they're going to be a challenge. We're going to play a lot of good teams this year. They're one of them.
Did any of your teammates ask you about your time at Maryland, being another Power 5 and a former ACC program? Just for people that, for teammates that have not gone up against this challenge, what do they need to expect?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of guys who went up against Michigan State last year. Kind of a hint to what it's like. But I just tell the guys it's the same thing. I think the difference is the front 7. I mean, when I was at Maryland, going up against some top corners in the NFL now, Deontay Banks, Shaquorian Bennett, Tarheeb Still, all those guys, we're battling now. So I come down here and I didn't see much of a difference as far as the skills. It's more the depth. So just hopefully they don't get shell-shocked by a nicer jersey and some more people. It really doesn't mean the same thing. We're in that line, 53 and a third, 100-yard long field. So I think that as long as they don't get shell-shocked and they realize that they got to take a breath and just play football, each play to perfection, I think they're going to be all right.
Quantrell, how about starting with just looking at an FBS opponent, how it's different than perhaps you'll face the remainder of the year?
It's definitely like we consider this the same game. We come in with the same mentality, and that's to win. And we have the same mindset as we would every other week.
But your journey, Idaho State's a long way away. We've been through this before. Comfortable here, home here, feel different than last year?
I'm definitely more comfortable here. I've been here for a year, but it's been the same. The guys are awesome. They've made me feel like I've started my career here, and I love it. And I appreciate the guys at Richmond, definitely.
Do you have any good experiences that come to mind against an FBS opponent that you could share with you guys?
Definitely last year, recovering a fumble against Michigan State. That was a good one. And that's all I could think of right now coming from Richmond.
How about Idaho State?
Idaho State was definitely a little bit different, but it's mostly like coverage snaps against the other teams. That was pretty fun for me.
What does it mean for you now to be a starting linebacker, and how does your kind of perspective change from where you were last year?
My mindset's the same as it was last year. Keep going, keep grinding, make sure I stay on top of the things I need to stay on top of, and continue to push the younger guys.
To actually hit somebody else. How excited are you to strap on the game uniform and hit the field and play another team?
Yeah. No, it's definitely better because as fall camp gets intense against each other. And, it's definitely better to put on your game jersey and go against somebody else and hit somebody else rather than your own teammates. So that's awesome. I love that.
How much does last year psychologically help you guys to have the success that you had, the fortitude after the slow start, and to kind of, understand what it takes to be successful?
It's the same mindset. We take each week for what it is, Every week, as we said, we go 1-0 each week, and we just keep that mindset. Don't look too far ahead. Just focus on the now and continue to strain now.